Scripture is full of paralyzed and lame individuals being healed. But one story has always stood out for me. That's because it kind of seems cruel. On the surface, what Jesus said to a lame man lying near the Bethesda pool in Jerusalem was mean. "Do you want to be healed?" he asked. I'm Michael Quinn Sullivan with a reflection on life and liberty. Let me back up. Myth had it that when the waters of the Bethesda pool were disturbed by an angel, the first person to touch the water would be healed of their malady. Invalids, the blind, the paralyzed, and otherwise lame would gather there every day in hopes of being the first one in the water. So, yes, Jesus, of course he wants to be healed. That's why he's there. Except, we all know people who don't. We all know people who are comfortable in their misery, who find their life's meaning and worth wrapped up in suffering. This man was different. He explained how he had no one to help him move into the water at the first ripple. He wanted to be healed, but lacked anyone to help him. And so Jesus did. And it didn't involve dropping into the water. I see the same thing being repeated every day. People who complain about the state of our country, who are angered by the news of the day. To be sure, there's a lot to be angry about, but some seem to find meaning in being angry. When given the opportunity to learn how to make a difference, they sniff and look away. They define themselves by their anger, and they are, frankly, comfortable with it. Others, though, are more tired of sitting on the couch. They're ready to redefine themselves not as passive recipients of bad news, but as agents of change and action. These are people who make a difference in their communities, schools, state, and nation. As an aside, Scripture tells us that the man at the Bethesda pool couldn't stop telling people what had been done for him. We don't know what else he did, but I suspect the man didn't slow down for the rest of his life, nor could he stop talking about how he'd been healed and by whom. What about us? Is it easier to stay on the couch and yell at the cable news shows, or are we willing to stop laying around? Are we ready to wake up our fellow citizens? Are we ready to zealously work for a better tomorrow? We can grouse about how bad things are, or we can grab the opportunity to make things better. Our nation needs us to define ourselves not by our anger, but by our willingness to stand up and get to work. If you like today's Reflection podcast, be sure to subscribe, rate it, leave a review, and encourage your friends to listen. The Reflections podcast is presented by Texas Scorecard, and today's edition was produced by Luke Marshall in the 1836 studios. I'm Michael Quinn Sullivan. Thanks for listening.